Nature? What's that?
If I'm lonely, look for me in nature. If I'm dying, I get my nature back. So I dive into nature. And you find me in nature. Whenever I feel like I have broken my back by too much sitting.
That's a hell of an introduction.
And it was spontaneous. I never planned it. You know? I just hit record and started. And this is another one of those Barbarian Lunatic productions. Get ready. Do something. Move it. Breathe fresh air. Take a train if you must. Right? Do whatever you have to do. But get your ass off the couch and into nature. 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 Find me in nature. You know, starting when you're barely set up is certainly one of the ways in which I like to engage. Oh shit! I forgot something. I think it's better this. Oh no, I did not forget it. I did not forget it. I'm so super prepared. You know, I'm so super prepared. I got a pair of hair growing out my bear. I just had a realization. My body is an animal, you know, that also lives inside my mind. You know, my body is an animal. It's a concept I'm being restrained to so that I have an anchor point that I can use to remember, you know, where I left myself, you know? So it's something that you know, whatever this thing is, you know, it's walking around, you know, it's like moving its hand, you know? I don't even think about moving its hand, you know? There's just the intent to move the hand. But how do I express the intent by moving the hand? It's a form of expression. So language is a form of expression. And liars use language and outer appearances to try to blend in and hide from other people, which is why politicians agree to all wear suits, right? And ties, and most of them are kind of close shaved. Of course, then you have the green fraction and they're all hippies. You know, that's a nice way to start my morning hike, which did take me a bit of contemplation. Or actually not, there were just words, you know, like bubbling up, trying to convince me to do something else. And I just said, just shut the fuck up. Stop talking in my mind, because I don't know who you are. You know, I know where I'm going, but you ain't coming, because I'm gonna leave you along the way, along with whatever you thought was a good idea. You know, it's like all these options left and right, and I don't know. Part of myself is always somewhere else. I start feeling sick now suddenly. Where's this coming from? You know, I actually just felt fine, and suddenly I feel like a blob of sickness. You know, it's just for the first time in 2 weeks, make it 1.5, which is always an eternity. I'm really walking. I mean, I left the house for more than just 20 meters. I literally, you know, except for the one time I went for a short, like a run, because I have kind of a panic attack. I mean, no wonder I feel sick now. Imagine about the stuff that accumulates in yourself when you're stuck at home channeling energy. You know, there's no cleansing. And then all the shit that I put into me, like, you know, or maybe it's the fumes of the cars. You know, there's so many reasons. I mean, I haven't really walked, which is supposed to be bad for your gut, but I have transformed and I have paid attention, and I did take my time to really think about what I wanted to do, and I did write a lot. I mean, I wrote a lot. Just this morning I wrote another 2 or so pages, and now I'm back outside. My feet look weak, right? I mean, I feel that they're strong and they're tough, but, you know, they seem weak, like so white. I mean, they're kind of red, of course, I get that. But they're also white, you know? The white knight. The white knight is upon us. What is he saying? It makes no sense. Yeah, nothing ever makes sense. You know, Jesus, I mean, there's so much hate in me. It's not hate, you know, in that sense. It's just like, I feel sick. I can feel really sick right now. Like, really sick. Can't believe how sick I feel at the moment. Which is why I decided to first go through nature. You know, why do I feel so sick? I think this is just, you know, I mean, just imagine I just spent more than a week, like 9 days, confined to the inside, seeing nobody but myself. And doing work, I have no internet, nothing. No internet, I didn't call with anybody. I had one message exchange, which now led me to leave the house and move. If you feel sick, breathe into your stomach. Which is hard when you're talking, because you're talking. And now my feet are starting to warm up a little. You know, I sometimes don't know. You know, am I gonna get arthritis because of, you know, being exposed to cold feet? No, I don't think so. Because I think what arthritis is deterioration of your bones. Or it's like, actually not. You know, I'm not sure. You know, they have all these explanations what things are, and then they give it a name. While in Asia, you know, at least in the depth of Asian health, medicine, philosophy, mentality, wow, sick. His buddy is sick. Fuck, sorry. F. You know, I can just say F. Just like the movie S, only with an F. Jesus. Good Lord, what's going to happen? Okay, so his buddy's sick. Like, really sick. You know, it's really a bummer when you realize that you've done this. And then you think about, you know, at which point I'm often not sure. You know, right now, I actually feel good. And I mean, you know, I feel kind of alright. Sorry, not really. I mean, I did it on purpose, so why apologize? It's ridiculous habits, you know? It's like cheating on your partner and then saying sorry. I mean, you did it, you know? That was your intent, which brings me back to the hand. I mean, you did it. You wanted to shame your partner. You wanted to, how would you call that? Good times, good times. You wanted to make it, right? You wanted to destroy the relationship you had. You wanted to destroy the relationship you had. And that's why you cheated. And that's where I'm often not sure about my own motives. And I know. This is the old topic, women. You know, women. How can I let that go? You know, my mind is clinging, but there's nothing to grab. You know what I mean? I mean, my mind is clinging, but there is nothing to grab. You know, who am I to reach out for? Who am I to reach out for? You know, I actually feel good. So it was just an overload of emotion because I was alone in my room for 9 days. You know? And this thing just spirals it through me. And then you suddenly go outside and it's like, oh my God, wait, there's no walls? Where are these restrictions? It's like, you know? That's how I feel like. And then I just walk through a class of young kids. I never leave the house that early. And wow, these look like mushrooms. Okay, this is always uncomfortable. Please be aware that I cannot guarantee you a safe trip in bare feet ever. You know? I'm not having, I mean, I do this because I think I need it. You know, this is self-treatment against, you know, the madness of modern life, which is being confined inside with electricity. You know, it's a distortion of what life is. Because, you know, if electricity would fall away, you know, nature would still be there, but your light wouldn't go on. Which is why, you know, I'm using what I have available. And because I seem to be here to share, I have this deep wish, you know, this deep desire, you know. You say, yeah, work with your desires and let them go, you know. Why do you have to talk to me about it? Because I want to contribute in whatever way I can. And I've been walking barefoot since 2012. It's when I started. I've already talked about this. Certainly talked about it in Spineless Cowards. Because what I am, you know, I'm always trying to find a definition for myself so that I can say I'm an author. Yeah, part of me is. I'm a content creator, you know. Yeah. You know, I like attraction, which brings me back to women, of course. And I've been working with these ideas of, you know, am I married because I had sex with someone? Yeah. It's definitely some kind of a soul bond. Does that happen every time I have sex with someone? Well, these women that I have slept with certainly are still around. And I often think of them. And the question is, if they think of me, and I feel them and I send them love, is that already enough? You know? Or do we have to live together and share the bed, you know? And drink each other's coffee or something, you know? I don't know. Maybe she makes one, I make one, and then I drink hers and she drinks mine. Which then would mean that she would probably always get stronger coffee and I always the weak one. Or maybe she likes it even stronger than I do. And I'm starting to think sometimes, why did I drink that coffee? And the answer may be because it opens you up so you can release all of these fears into nature. I would like to say the silence of nature, but I'm just gonna say into nature. Because nature is never really silent. There's always something or someone, and they just cut down this whole forest. Or what was here before. Or have I never really looked? Or is this just winter? The approaching winter. Wow. This is a lot of stuff coming out now. Burping is a clear sign for energy that is being released. I know people, and as soon as they go into nature, they start to burp. It's not necessary, because you could just breathe. And I also like to think of aesthetics. I mean, okay, aesthetics, does this look pretty? Sometimes I look at myself in my recordings, because of course I do that. And I think, yeah, I mean, it's a handsome guy. And then there are other times where I think, what an ugly fuck. You know, there are certain perspectives of, you know, the camera is like this, and then of course there's the fisheye blob, the effect. I think it was always like this, actually. No, actually it wasn't. Oh yeah, of course, we're heading towards Christmas. And I think this was a plantation. You know, it used to be a plantation. You know, if you think about a bison standing around, his nose is running, you know, he just licks it away. He doesn't think it's disgusting. Maybe he thinks it's nutritious. You know, he doesn't blow his nose into a cloth. Why do I do that? Well, does it really matter? Okay, now I start feeling better. The sickness, now I'm being grounded. And Mother Nature takes care, you know. Okay, this is something that makes no sense if you believe in science. But they have proven, you know, so even for scientists, there's a way to say that grounding works, which is, you know, they call it, you know, forest bathing or nature bathing. So if you have to read up on these things and to find proof, you know, that going barefoot in nature can actually help you and connect you to yourself, I have had lots of experiences where I learned, wow, there's so many mushrooms. I actually thought the time was over, but the time is actually ripe. You know, it's like, should I pick some? And then I say, no, you know. I think I've had enough of this for now. The last time I had a psychedelic transcendental experience was, I mean, I worked hard to get back from that. And then there's always, I mean, I can only call it a voice. And I really hate hearing voices because they annoy me. They give me the feeling that something is wrong. Maybe also about to happen, and nothing ever does. You know, at least not where I am, you know. Maybe I am hearing other people. Because what is oneness, you know? And if I'm connected to spirit, and I have had intimate relations, which just transcend the physical, with especially women, but also, you know, if you smoke cannabis with men, you know, that also opens you up to each other. And if you have intense experiences with each other, you know, fighting with men is a bit like sex. You know, which is why MMA is basically, you know, sex. But sex is just a word, you know. It's just that it so happens that a man has certain sexual organs and a woman has also certain sexual organs. And, you know, if you have a penis, then it's a clear sign that you are a man, or will become one in due time. Whatever voices may say in your head, which is why, you know, if I see these teenagers that just sit around not knowing who they are, never go into nature, have no idea what a man is like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, it's just like one mass of confused children, just like, you know, I'm a boy. But, I mean, you've got a vagina. I mean, it's a clear symptom, you know, because this world loves symptoms, right? So how do you want to treat a symptom of having a vagina? How do you want to treat? You know, I feel insecurities too. But I just learn how to deal with them, and I've always done that. I mean, if you feel insecure about yourself, maybe challenge yourself a little, you know? Just wear something that makes you stick out a little. And then go into the nature. Or, you know, just make an experience you've never had. And I don't mean with that, you know, having an orgy or a threesome, or I don't know, strapped to a table and being slapped with sticks or something, you know? You know, I mean something that helps your spirit to grow, and not something that traumatizes you even more because you think that's how life is supposed to be. You know, life is supposed to be hell. I mean, I was in relationships with women which were never women, which were just like confused city idiots. And I was, of course, a confused city boy. But what I knew was that I was never this full of shit. I was never this full of shit as, for instance, my second girlfriend. And the word says everything. You know, we shouldn't have had an intimate relationship at that point. But I also had my own weaknesses. I certainly had strength. And she was probably then, you could say, more than I could handle. I don't think she wanted to be handled. I think she just wanted someone that she could dump on. Because she thought men were bad or something. I mean, she had clearly real issues. And she was always looking for someone to dump that shit on. Like, literally. The fuck? These weird plastic Instagram things. Which is why nature close to cities, you know, is already starting to show signs of infestation of ignorance. Because, you know, of course you can also say, yeah, people are just leaving signs, you know. Yeah, why don't you leave a sign, you know, that says, I wasn't here, you know? Or you just walk barefoot, you know, that's how I often leave signs. I just make sure I leave some muddy footprints just to startle people a little, you know, because maybe someone is gonna see it. That's just what I find. So what I realize, or feel, or perceive very strongly, oh my God. Okay, I'm not quite sure about my relationship to psychedelics at the moment. I think at the moment, you know, I really started to write again. And I'm really trying to just keep it together at the moment. So I got rid of, especially taking a mushroom very close to the path. I would probably rather go into it more. And I left the house now. But, if I would pick it, I certainly wouldn't pick it on the way to my parents. Then I would probably make sure that I get back before it's dark. Or I just come here tomorrow and do this again. Maybe I just have to leave the house more often. And just find a more healthy routine than just staying inside all the time. I mean, I really like staying inside. I do not have the feeling that it weakens me. I think learning to be cool on my own, of course I record myself and I can channel myself into my art. But now I have no tobacco anymore. I smoked it all. And this weird, whatever HHC is, it also is gone. So now I'm left with what everybody else has, or some people, which is coffee and sugar. And then I basically ran out of food. I have one beetroot left. Literally, this is, when you say I ran out of food, this is rarely what anyone means, You just think, I ran out of the nice things. But there's no more pasta, there's no more flour. I have lentils and I have onions. That's it. Lentils, onions, I have one pack of kind of vegan milk. I can feel a bit proud of myself. I managed to not freak out. I just ate what I had. And then I just waited patiently until, probably my mother would contact me because she also has to deal with herself sometimes. And by giving her time to do that, which is like slowly but surely, because I am certainly one of the children that pushes the limits a lot. I'm not sure anymore if I think I was the first one. Did I leave for Africa? No, okay. I left the second, but I certainly, everybody knows I'm kind of crazy. And I am open about that I have been taking psychedelics and that I still have some kind of relationship with them. But I also clearly communicated that according, to my belief, they actually help me. I'm also opening up to seeing other things, which, I don't know, maybe really far away, or maybe really close at hand. Hey now, butterfly agaric. Don't like the word. Amanita muscaria. And she... Okay, who said that again? I think it was about Rick. And she briefly forgot the word for human. Yeah, my body is an animal. And recording myself often brings with it the desire to just turn it off, to just stop talking. One reason why I feel that way is because, I think I just have to empty myself, which is part of, what I do. I could have put on shoes and walked straight through the city, just went to my parents and exploded into their space, being all charged up with all this, I've been alone at home, But instead, I say, you know what? I do what relaxes me first. But if you feel the whole night you've been wanting to punch through walls, then you realize if I go there like this, You know, I'd be literally afraid for others to touch me. Because, I mean, what you have to understand, and yes, I say that, you have to understand it, otherwise, find someone else you can listen to. What is happening in your body, to me, what physicians think is real, to me is just bullshit. And I'm allowed to question these things. I mean, I never go and see doctors. And I'm not the only one who lives like this. The other day I went to the bathroom and I had like severe pain in my right belly. And I just had eaten something, and then I lay down and I put my hands on and I did my energy work, which you could call Reiki. I just call that self-healing. It's just, you give a name to a method, okay, you can do that. But I think everyone can do that. It's just focus and attention. It's just accepting that you can do this if you want to, but it's going to take time for you to really feel the effects. I was initiated into Reiki. Or so they said. I paid a bit of money and then I got like an introduction and then I was initiated. But what I felt was that it wasn't that I needed her to do things. I don't know. I felt like she was just opening me up to the idea, right, that this could happen. Because now I had learned something about shit. Because this is what everybody, right, does. It's something that is happening naturally. If your chakras have been opened and stuff. Okay, now the question is, okay, maybe I did need her. She was certainly necessary. And I'm not sure if, was I necessary for her? Because I have had people that said things to me that never happened. And where I was sure they also will never happen. And these are things like, women saying they would call me and tell me there's a job available. Well, it's never happened. It doesn't mean it cannot happen again. It may happen. But, what will my answer be? At the time I just said, I'm never going to work there. Right now I'm not so sure. I think I would welcome the opportunity. I just think it will never happen. Because, I think that woman's a coward. And I think these people have no interest in me. And this other woman said to me, one day you will. I had a dream that I would make you a master. And she even had this description of it. How she would look like and how I would look like. And then there's, of course, the question, is my rite of passage of becoming a man, is it being intervened with meeting myself in relation with the same woman over and over again, kind of like in Cloud Atlas? Because sometimes I feel like that. I mean, so, I can certainly see, the woman where I would say she's the closest I have ever come to finding someone where I felt like deeply in love with, that just sparked something in me. Or I sparked it in her, I'm not quite sure. I realized only much later how beautiful I think she was. Also ugly parts, but even that I found beautiful. And then the question is, why does she remind me in some ways of my mother? And then you think, wait, is this like incest? Should I even consider having children with her? I mean, in a way, Just imagine you would find your soulmate, you know, whatever that is. I don't really give a crap. You know, maybe it's like your twin flame, it's just a word. Just people trying to express intense relationship they have with certain people. You know, it's like meeting a woman and she's like, ah, I hate that guy. You know, that's the best place to start a family. If you can overcome your individual differences. And I certainly got to the point where I said, now I'm really getting back to myself. Holy crap. That was intense. Sickness is gone. I knew how to work through it. Nature took care of it. And that's what nature does. I mean, it just feeds on whatever you give it. And that's why, of course, forests are struggling. Because there are too few of them left. Or that's what it seems to look like. But as the news media, okay, it really seems to look like it. I mean, even in this area, it's just being transected. You know, just machines and cars and... I mean, what's the use of a vacuum cleaner? Why do you need, you know, to create more electricity just because you're too lazy, you know, to use, you know, to dust off your carpet? I mean, there are things I just don't understand. Where I say, to me, you know, it was so much more natural to just hang out of the window and just take the whole carpet and just shake it like that. And then just see all the dust come off. And then also have it, you know, outside of nature, just let it hang out the window. You know, for, you know, if it's warm, I don't know, a couple of hours, whatever. You know, I don't like vacuum cleaners, of course, if, you know, the carpet is too heavy. All right, you know. But even old age is not an excuse. At least not to me. And then I just can quote Don Juan and say, I'm as old as I want to be. You know? And that's a fact. I mean, I've spent time with people who thought they had to be like a grown man, and I was like, yeah, but I'm like a little kid, my friend. And if you trample on me, you know, you cannot punch me. You cannot even kill me. Because I'm like a little kid. Yeah? Because I've got that part in me. Everyone got that. Just because you forgot it, or you talked yourself into being like, yeah, I'm a real powerful man now. You know? You see a friend that you walk past. You see a friend and you walk past. And then you, damn it, why is there somebody now? Why is there somebody now? I just wanted to pee. Contain yourself, you know? You can literally contain the energy. Yeah. Don't piss yourself. You know, it's not your forest. But just say hi. Go for a little walk. Do whatever the fuck you want. And then, you know, this is just, I could do this for the rest of my life and just keep saying the same kinds of things to people. You know, it's like people that meet to do workout always think, you know, there's just so much more to discover and to point out. You know, they think they have to wear certain clothes to look like they're doing a workout. You know, I just dress the way I feel like. You know, I just pick the clothes that I want to wear. And then I just, you know, do what I want. I do not have to meet with anyone to do anything. Because if I wanted to do it, I could just do it. And that's the amount of freedom I have reached just by doing shit on my own. And by never dragging people into this. Because anyone I could take here would probably just annoy me or hold me back. You know, because if there would somebody be here now, You know, unless, you know, and the only one, you know, I could accept would be a she that knows how to, you know, sometimes just let me do these things. Because I have to take the time I have and then just do what I have to do. Right? I cannot be all the time just focusing on you. You know, I can, but I think, you know, I'm not sure, but this seems to be my life. Or part of it. Or at least I'm documenting it. And so I have to have the right to communicate. What the fuck am I talking about? You know, I'm just trying to wiggle out of saying I need to make a recording now. You know? And then if you think you're married or whatever, you know, then she has to respect that. And there's no man, I mean, okay, there are a few men where I would think they would actually respect it if I would do this. But then the thing is, you know, I would probably never do that. Because when I spend time with others, why do I have to film myself? You know, I can do so if I want to, but I don't have to. I mean, it's not mandatory to film myself in the presence of others. So, you know, when I'm alone, I can film myself. Which is why now I just recorded the content. Already, so far into the future. Because there may be times where I will spend time with others and I really have to pee. Okay, I don't think I ever want to be in a band. But I'm not sure, right? It may happen. I do think, I don't know, I may have a good voice. It often says, just transform yourself to music. You know, turn yourself into music. Well, do so. You know, if you want to, go ahead, baby. Do it, right? Turn yourself into music if you want to. You know, when the fear comes, sing. Okay, when the fear comes, sing. You know, can you sing during birth? Maybe just breathe. Come on now. I don't feel like singing. Because right now I'm just trying to keep myself together. I can film myself, I can hold the camera, and I can talk. I like autumn. I still think it's autumn. Yeah. The bird chirps. We agrees! I agree. So, you know, all the stuff that I'm going through, and yet, you know, Christopher still manages to smile about the little things, you know. I haven't really heard birds, not like that close, without walls, for some days, you know. I never really felt free, by the way. You know, I studied and people acted like it was easy and I just had a good time. I would just do whatever I want, but it's not true. I mean, I'm not doing whatever I want. You know, if it were just up to me and my basic primal needs, you know, I would probably spend my days like Achilles, right? Having sex and worry about being remembered. And then just have two women at once. But for some reason, it never occurred to me. I mean, of course, you know, I did imagine having sex with two women. But I also feel like I just forgot, you know, how to do these things. I mean, if there would be a woman now, I seriously wouldn't know what to do with her. I mean, I've tried. Or women just don't know what to do with me. Because I went to a bar. And I have to say that... No, I don't have to say that. A hat made tea. You know, that's all I'm gonna say. A hat made tea. No, I cannot say fly agaric... Oh, fuck it. Fly agaric tea. I know how to make that. But I also know how to not have a panic attack and freak out. So this is nothing I can recommend to anyone. I'm just saying that I did it for whatever reason. And I just wanted to see what would happen, because people are super afraid. Well, it was... I mean, psychedelics in general, you kind of lose track of what's real. But so does somebody who drinks coffee. And coffee is, I mean, an espresso or a Moroccan coffee that's like brewed the way I do it. I mean, of course, I mean, you know me already a bit. Perhaps. You've seen already some of the stuff. Perhaps. You know, it's a psychedelic. And I should know because I've studied these things. And I know how it feels like. I know how I feel like when I take them. You know, I take stronger psychedelics than sugar, you know? And I know how I feel when I don't take them. Because I have experienced both. And I'm still experiencing both. You know, I always am this physical thing, but then I'm also the psychedelic thing. And the physical thing is kind of like, you know, it's just holding yourself together. Because, you know, if you start to forget that you're real, you know, then this is just detachment. You know, your soul and body are kind of, you know, it's like you're bringing just a bit more distance, right? So that you can be the observer. But you can never forget. I mean, you can forget your place in life, which is why you have to remember. And there are methods to remember this, and that is breath. And that is just creating sound. Well, where's that sound coming from? You know, I was somewhere up there. Well, it's your body. You know, so when the fear comes, sing. Because the fear is, of course, a distortion of the truth. Because it's just energy. And if you label it fear, we are back to it's just a word. You know? Language is complete bullshit. Which is now I can pick up on whatever I said before. You know, we think, you know, we agree on certain things. You know, we all use the same kind of words, you know. Some words seem more fancy and are more complicated and seem to hold more meaning. But all words have a subjective quality to them because, and that means that everybody understands something else. Some people, you know, it's like, okay, birds have a language. That is a good point. And you know, I can explain to you what I mean, but only if you actually want to hear it. If you want to open up what I'm trying to express. I'm often not sure. I mean, the fact that I'm talking is already a form of expression. Expression, you know? I would like to communicate. I think I have something to say. Because I actually have a lot of experiences in connection with nature. And my mind seems to be able to process all of them. And Terence McKenna was a great fan of pointing out, you know, that the mushroom, you know, for him it was the mushroom that was talking to him. I'm not sure what's talking to me. I think everybody can hear voices. They just act like they don't. Because, and that's the whole point, what's making you smoke? Do you just smoke for no reason? I mean, I've been in people's living rooms. It's like my first girlfriend at the age of, I don't know, 19 or something. Don't have that all together always. Maybe it was 18, 19, 20, something like that. And we went to one of her friends, and because I had switched schools, I don't know, I never knew people like this. Because I was born into middle class, and they were like just on the verge of, you know, making it into middle class. That's just, you know, it's just how you have to see it. And she had friends that were, I don't know, I would just say weird. Just different, not weird, but different. And what I mean to say is we went to her friend's home and, you know, her friend's brother just came out of prison, which to me, I mean, I was raised in a very safe environment. I mean, there was never anybody that I knew or had heard of that was in prison. Actually interesting. I mean, it was just weird because then we went to, you know, these people and they had this apartment for rent and, you know, it was, okay, let's say it was outside, it was like 10 degrees. Or maybe it was winter, you know, I'm not quite sure about this anyway. I think it was fairly cold. Let's say around freezing temperatures. You know, I'm just trying to, because I haven't thought of this in a long time. Actually a great story because, I mean, I don't think I'm doing a very good job of presenting it, or maybe I'm trying to present it, you know, more, you know, intense than it was. It was just like marvelous, like, what the fuck is going on? Because we went inside and it was like 30 degrees Celsius, like they had the thermometer on really high because they had reptiles. At least that's how I remember it. I never really got the chance. Yeah, they had reptiles, certainly. All the windows were closed, and in the middle of the living room table, so I was sitting on the sofa now, was like, you know, these, you know, just imagine like some kind of like a cup. Only instead of putting drink in it, you know, you would put salt sticks in there, you know, like a snack. Only they didn't have salt sticks in there. They had cigarettes, you know, like, poof, it was like circumference, I don't know, make it 10 centimeters. And it was just stuffed all around with cigarettes. I actually wasn't sure if they were an offering, you know, should I smoke them? You know, it's like, what the fuck? Okay, so the whole room, because they seemed to never leave the house, they were all really yellow. All the walls were really yellow. And just smelled incredibly like smoke in there. I was just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, can I leave, please? That's just how I felt. Highly uncomfortable. And if I think back to it now, how would I have reacted? Well, I probably wouldn't be there in the first place. But, I mean, is it bad? You know, I just started to become, I don't know, I started to feel a lot of fear. And I think it's good that I felt it. Because, I mean, I'm not a child anymore. You know, in that sense, I'm a grown man. However small or young I may feel about myself, I am no longer a little child. And the stuff I'm talking about takes a lot of responsibility, because there are things that I do keep to myself. You know, I may have written them in my books, you know, but, you know, it's a form of self-expression. You know, I don't know if you read it or listen to what I'm saying. You know, I don't know what you're gonna do with it. So I'm not telling you stories so that you can hate others and dump on them and think, you know, I don't want you to favor me. I don't want you to like me, you know, and, you know, I don't want you to like me and then dump on others, you know, just take my side and then just, you know, that's just weakness. You know, if you ever hear me, you know, I do complain, right? Or I think so. But complaining, I think I'm complaining in a constructive way, which is I point out things where I'm stuck, and then I try to work with them and disentangle myself from them, which is where then the word detachment comes from. But at the moment, I'm busy writing a book. So the question is, yeah, sure, man. I mean, it's Fly Agraric season. Argaric, you know, who cares? You know, it's the mushroom that looks red. And that cannot just be taken lightly. I mean, you don't know. You never know what is going to happen. You know, I'm not sure what's going to happen when I drink a coffee. You know, I'm not sure what's going to happen when I leave the house. I certainly had to prepare myself today to make the jump, which is why I drank the coffee. But it did take me a bit of settling into the idea. You know, I knew I should do it, and when I did not want to, there was like this voice in my... I'm just saying it. There was a voice in my head that said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" You know, and when I hear the voice, I think it's my wife. Makes no sense. According to science, you know, they would just say I'm crazy. But according to my wife, you know, and oneness, and the whole concept of being connected with each other, and, you know, there are people who simply know telepathy works, that have even tried it. And even science has to agree to this, because, I mean, they have done research, right? I mean, it's also like showing people these images that all look different, and then you try to, you know, say what you see in there. And that's what I mean with language. I mean, everybody's gonna see something else. But if I say something and you hear it, you're going to understand it from your perspective that you have on life. Which is why if I write things in my books, you may read it and it may scare you incredibly. While somebody else may read it and they hate it. And then somebody else reads it and they love it. I mean, I think one of the first reviews on the Book of Fear in German, like the German version, was, you know, he tricked me into buying this and I gave it back because it's esoteric. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you just bought the book. I mean, if you would have done your research, you would have known, you know, that I'm the guy who wrote. Because if he would have literally read the book, I mean, what's esoteric? I talk about energy, I talk about spirituality, you know, and that in connection, in relation to fear. That's the Book of Fear. I mean, you know, if you don't want to read it, you know, it's not my problem. You know, you can dump on it, doesn't matter, because I wrote it anyway. You know, that's not gonna change it. So your review is like, don't buy it, it's shit. Yeah, for you. For you. So I always think, you know, maybe you should encourage people to do reviews on your works. But that's all you ever gonna hear from me about it. You know, I'm not gonna sit there and say, please review my work, because it's completely irrelevant to me. I mean, sure, it would be nice if people would buy these books and I could then sit there and, you know, hold interviews and talk about fear, which is certainly what I'm trying to do. Just raise awareness. And when you raise awareness, you know, awareness has a way, you know, it's like you're attracting, you know, your awareness is attracting more awareness. And because I put so much stuff out there, you know, it's like attention, attention, attention. You know, I think at some point somebody is supposed to think, oh wow, I don't know, you know, it's just like, I mean, he does a lot, right? And he's still alive. So he seems to know what he's doing, which other people do not do. Even though they started earlier than me, you know, I started to do completely different things. While they were just like smoking, just to chill, you know, I smoked and I started to become active. Unless I was in the presence of others, because they all always started to dump on me and say like, you know, why don't you just chill? It's like, what the fuck would I do that for? I mean, I've chilled already. The first, you know, I try to chill as much as I can in university. But I always ended up being stressed in the end. You know? You push off work, you push off work, you push off work. You know, you push it off, and you push it off. And then you get to the point where you have such a huge pile of work, you can never, you know, then you just have this huge lump of stress that you have to deal with, and then you will hand in sloppy work simply because you never took the time to do a good job. Because I never gave a crap about these things, you know? Okay, it was like interesting, but it didn't really spark me. You know, I just did it because I started it and then I wanted to finish it. And then you start with a podcast, and then you write your first book and you realize, holy crap, I liked it. And that's why, you know, I really love the Book of Fear, because it starts with such a nice story. And I literally had no idea. I just started writing it, and suddenly I had written this introduction, you know? And now I'm facing probably the deletion of my website because I'm running out of money. And I will not just, you know, I will never really, you know, I cannot just go to my parents and ask for money. I mean, they already pay my apartment. If they would give it by themselves, I could accept it. But I'm not sure, you know, if they would just send me the money, I would probably just accept it. For whatever reason, they would just say, oh, we just think you deserve more. But unless that's gonna happen, nothing's gonna happen. I'm just gonna go online and delete my website, you know. And that is in itself I really have, that's something that comes also, sorry, that's from the bare feet. It starts the cleansing, and I've had or have a friend, you know, I'm not always sure about that. I don't think I have friends, just have people that I met or something. And he said he could definitely feel the difference, that he just had to pee a lot whenever he was barefoot. Okay, I'm also doing this now simply because then I have it out of the way. I mean, I have not made it a secret that one reason why I record myself is simply so that, you know, I release content so that people can spend time with me in times of need, right? And that's just the whole point of my endeavor, right? Meh. Right. I just have to chill a little. Ja, ich weiß auch nicht, wo der herkam. Aber es hat einer gepfiffen, oder?
Ja, ich weiß noch nicht wo.
Hä?
Ich weiß nur nicht wo.
Ja.
Willi! Jetzt ist der weg.
Ja. Na, immerhin waren sie ja freundlich, oder?
Ja, die Hauptsache, was?
Ja, das ist es.
klar. Nur mal gut gegangen.
Schönen Tag.
Schönen Tag.
Ciao.
Ja, ciao.
Yo. You know, it's weird, but I always find dogs kind of intense. Like, it's just the intensity of meeting other beings as well. You know, that if you walk somewhere and there's suddenly someone, you never know what's gonna happen. And, you know, I do sometimes see dogs as some kind of vicious creature that just wants to eat my face. And tonight it said something while I was laying there wide awake, you know, and I don't know, I had the feeling something with my left eye was happening. You know, something that hadn't happened before. Certainly not in that way. What it said was, you know, never look at anyone with your left eye. And I do meet people and they kind of like look like this. I don't know, just like Popeye, right? And maybe I'm starting to see why they would do it. And now the question is, I have this image of the bust of Nefertiti, and I think it's her left eye that looks kind of like blank. Now the question is, you know, what sees what? Because I have certainly been, you know, sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about until I'm talking about it. But once I open up to the subject, I can clearly see in which direction it is going, right? And, you know, this seems to be about the physical and the spiritual or maybe emotional body. And, you know, what I can say to that is the spiritual and the emotional body, you know, or the spiritual and the physical body, whatever physical means, but it's that which is solid, it's that which does this, you know, and this is also part of the physical body then. It's like the realm where everything is like touchable. But then when I lay at night in bed and for whatever reason, you know, I see things with my left eye, this is weird, you know, it's like my eye isn't what I've been told it is, or what I thought it was, because I have no clue what I was seeing. It was like, I know, just stuff. You know, I've been seeing weird things before. I mean, weird just means that, and I haven't taken anything. I smoked a cigarette and just did my work. You know, I'm just open. It's just been open to these things. But how am I supposed to look at people? I mean, there are some people who start having a lazy eye. The question is it always the left one? Or can it also be the right one? Because if you have a lazy eye, that's clearly whatever is being perceived is too much. And you just want to look away, right? You just want to look away. It's like, you know, trying to forget the truth that you see, which may be that there are people that may be infested with some kind of, I don't know, energetic leeches. You know, I'm not sure. You know, you can look at people and you see their trauma. You know, I meet people and they walk around like normal people and everybody treats them like normal people, but I see them, I can literally look at their suffering. You know, I can look at, you know, I don't know what they carry. You know, it's just sickness, it's disease, it's being pumped full of poison all the time, and I can just see how swollen, you know, it's like suddenly I saw this lump on this guy and he just, you know, to me it's the hunchback. But I go into nature a lot, which is why I do not, you know, I think I do not have these things. It's just the burden. It's like, that's probably what it was. You know, because he seemed like, you know, a lot of people, they suppress their anger, you know? And it's like the masculine. And when it builds up, because you're afraid of it, or you just accumulate it, and you never use your feminine side, you know, I just did this. I don't know what it did to him. I don't even know why I saw it like that. I don't even know why nobody else saw it or pointed it out. Well, his girlfriend has a lazy eye. She could never see it. So unless you open both your eyes, I mean, I'm talking to people who wear contact lenses. They're blind. I'm talking to people who's got their eyes lasered. They're blind. I was talking to people, you know, who wear glasses. Of course they're blind. You know, we once made a joke because actually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to have friends. He seemed like a friend at the time, and he has this, like, not a lazy eye, but like Popeye. I don't know, I like him. And he said, maybe we should, you know, punch the glasses off his nose. Because we were talking about somebody that's like sick with paranoia. You know, it's like, you know, so if you start accusing people, you know, you lose your shit. Unless you have really good reason. But the best way to deal with people sometimes is to actually not accuse them of anything. It's just to, you know, turn the tap, you know, just stop giving them anything. You know, you just discard them from your life. Because if you try to talk with them, they will try to defend themselves by sweet talking around their bullshit. Because that's what they do. And of course, perfume is another method of hiding, you know, your true self. And I don't know what that even means. I mean, the fact that you do that just tells me everything. And it's so hard. You know, generally I would say people that talk a lot are dishonest. While, you know, I feel kind of honest about speaking. But it's so hard to say. Because, and that's why, I don't know, dishonest people, what's dishonesty? Because if truth is always there, then you cannot lie. Because even the words that you use, and that's the point of looking also into things, you know, to not cling to the words somebody's using, but to hear how he says them, what his mimic is. Because people get greedy for trying to, you know, steal things from people by using words. And that's what I would call a politician. I mean, a politician writes a speech or has other people write a speech, and then he learns them, and then he stands there and he practices them so that he can pronounce whatever he says exactly right to create the effect that he desires. And what politicians do with their words is polarization, which means splitting the society apart in all kinds of fractions. Hate speech, you know, that's what politicians do. They just do hate speech against each other. The whole government hates themselves because all of them want to be president. That's why they're there. You know, they're just hoping to get a piece of the cake, you know. So that's just what governments do. They just hate each other. And when you're the president, then you either have people who suck up to the president or who want to be the president themselves. And I suppose there were times, I cannot say anything about Putin. Don't know who the guy is. Looks a bit swollen to me. Maybe you should do a detox. But if you would do a detox, Like, if he were to really cleanse, well, he could never be president again. Yeah, that's what I think. And it would probably take him a lifetime. You know, I'm not just dumping on Putin. I'm just dumping on everybody. You know, that's just a bit too chubby. That's just holding on to ideas about themselves. Nobody has to be like chubby. Nobody has to be chubby. It's just, I mean, if you would, you know, I eat a lot, but I eat so that I can work with myself. And that's the truth. You may not believe it. You know, there were times where I gained weight, but I just learned to transform it. Which is why when I eat, I also, you know, I spend time. So I eat so that I feel like at least a bit satisfied or heavy. And then I sit there and I always put my hands on my stomach and just keep channeling. So that whatever food I eat is being digested well. And then I wake up, and although I didn't go for a run and I did nothing, you know, I'm just like, you know. So I keep myself together. I don't become fat. Just try to keep it together. I eat a lot. I mean, sometimes I eat in the middle of the night, but because, you know, I'm constantly thinking. And without eating, you know, it would be impossible for me to sleep. But I still want to sleep. I mean, I feel the need to sleep. And it is also being communicated to me that I should sleep. Well, how much? I don't know. I mean, sleeping is also a way to detach yourself. I mean, do I always have to actively meditate or enter samadhi or whatever? Or can I just sleep? You know, that's a valid question. Sometimes I tried not to sleep, but I think I gave up on that. Because that's what then talking about having a body. Because the body needs rest. You know, the body can kind of take hits that are directed at the soul or the self, I think. It's like a barrier, right? It's like layers upon layers. You know, we call it just layers of skin. But in another perspective, it's layers of energy. You know? And then you see this. Whatever is inside here doesn't matter to me. You know, stuff comes out, stuff goes in. And then I write a book. And then I have tried fasting, but I do rely on strength from the outside. I also do rely on strength from, it's my will that keeps me going. It's my will that keeps me going. But it's also other people. And not just doing this for myself. There are other people that I love because I met them. And I also keep going for them. Because I feel like as long as I'm there and I can send them love, you know, I'm gonna do it. Every time I feel hate, I focus on the love. I never get stuck on hating anything. But if I hate something, I work with it. And that's why I write books. Because everything is relative. And if I transform myself and I capture what I discover, then other people who may face similar things can read my books. You know, so the book Mentality of a Warrior is inspired. You know, I have already received the title. Spit. I have already received. Hey, what's this? Oh, it's interesting. Just shit. Just junk. I have already received the title several months ago. Oh, look at you. Yeah. And I haven't made the cover yet. It's going to be interesting. And I realized I had to make experiences because I cannot write a book without having had experiences. So I had to make certain experiences, I needed to fill the book with a feeling. And now I have the feeling because I have proven to myself, that at the very least I managed to push through. And every time I go and check the internet, and that is interesting because I never know what's going to wait. There may be an email I didn't expect. There may be an email also, content was being removed, or your entire channel has been deleted. There may be people, I don't know, contacting me. Whatever. I mean, there may be things I have to deal with. There may also be millions of followers. Or people donated money to me. Or whatever. And one reason why I like to talk about these things so far in advance before releasing it is also that I can distance myself enough from having said these things. And it's just chit chat, of course. Just chit chat. I'm just talking myself. And that's the point I was trying to make, that I make content in a way for myself, but not really, because I said I wanted to help and I was being shown what I can do to help. And I can literally talk people, if you wake up at night and there's a new video from me and you're gonna watch it, it's at least, it's like that friend that isn't there right now. It's like Marissa calling Ryan at 4 a.m. and he has no time, and then she just goes to YouTube and just watches this instead. It's like, oh yeah, he's the friend that I needed. It's like, yeah, maybe, or you just have to take care of yourself, because that's the message. Never be stuck on listening to this, because if you just live your life rooting for me or trying to be my friend, maybe at this stage nobody's watching this. I don't know what's happening. I'm just doing what I'm told. I don't know what I'm gonna get out of it. Am I going to be, it's like whole countries want my presence? Is this like me, the Gandhi? Like Mahatma? And I go to India and it's Mahatma reborn. There he is again. It's like, or is it gonna be, who the fuck are you? I don't give a damn what you say. Barbarian, lunatic, what the fuck is this? You will never set foot in this society. It may be like this. Content deleted. All books being rejected because they realized, well, this is like hate speech. To us, it's like hate speech. He calls this transformation. Maybe he's the new Hitler. It's possible. And it's impossible for me to say, because often when I'm at home and I have these feelings and I feel like it's already there, and then I say, yeah, his website will not be deleted. And then I go there and I realize, yeah, that just seemed like a bit of a delusion. And then you just go and delete it yourself because there's just no money. Then you think, have I been doing something wrong? Or was I just a bit too greedy? Is this life's message? You tried to grab the freedom of being a content creator and making it a business, and you thought you were helping people, but everybody hates you. Then you think, well, they just hate me because, that's what they have to give. Yeah, because there is nothing but hate. But do they hate me enough to buy my book and then hate that until they start loving it? Because anyone, if you try to hate me, it's impossible. Because, I can smile like this. After walking in bare feet, I just always have to show it so people know it's not an AI generating this, or maybe it is, right? Maybe I just have to delete the website so that people start getting afraid. It's like, he's gonna leave us. And then they start buying my books because they think, before he takes them down also, you know, I'm just gonna buy them and then sell them really expensive later on, you know. Or maybe he's already died, he hasn't posted, and his videos are already pre-recorded, so, you know, how should I know he's still alive? Is he a real human or is he a machine? You know, is he being managed? Well, certainly am. I mean, where do you think all these ideas are coming from? Everyone that's connected to me also can, you know, give me, in their own way, feedback if I want to hear it. I mean, there's so many ideas what I could do, you know, more of these videos with moving characters, and I just think I'm a moving character. I mean, at the time, I don't feel like I have to do any of that, because it just seems like it just was a distraction. So instead of distracting myself from myself, just take the camera, point it at myself for what I'm doing, and then just keep doing it. Because that's what it started to turn out, you know. When I looked at, or I recorded a video and I call it I'm not gonna go where you are, because you already look like interested. So the point is, the idea behind what I'm doing is just to record. You know, this is the path or the beginnings of a yogi. And being a yogi never comes with, you know, going to a school of yogi and then paying for a certificate and then learning all these things. No. You are a yogi because you are at war with yourself. And yoga is then your way of connecting with yourself and finding balance between the shadow and the light, right? The light and the dark, whatever. Because what you have to realize, you don't have to anything. You have a shadow, but you also have light. And I would always think, I don't know, light is like the child, but ignorance also seems to be a child. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know, because there's also, you know, children who have really good beliefs, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is, people rely too much on certificates. You know, I have a certificate in environmental protection, but if you put me into you know, I have no desire to do anything with that other than saying that I have it, because I do have opinions about climate change, you know, which is plant more trees, you know, that's all there is to it. Just make sure nature's okay, you know. You know, it's like, slow down a little. Maybe just one coffee per day. Maybe a bit less sugar. Maybe just once in a while. You know, you do not watch a movie at night. You know, you don't sit there at 8 with chips like every day and a chocolate bar so you can have the ultimate junk experience. No. You do something else. You just sit down on the ground. You may take a pillow. You may light a candle or create some kind of altar. And then you just sit there. And you just feel how shit and weak your body feels. And then you make a resolution for yourself, which is, holy crap, I'm really lazy. And because I'm so lazy, I have to start working on myself. And that's what happened to me. I mean, I just felt shit. Because people, you know, I was allowing people to tell me what to do. And I allowed it for some time, and when I had realized or came to the conclusion that they had no idea what I was supposed to do, I just started doing things by myself. And when I started doing things by myself, I realized how I started to change. I mean, I first started doing little things by myself. First, you know, you started going alone to the cinema or to pubs. You know, and then at a later stage you would live alone, you know. So I can say, yeah, I had help. But the only reason I had help was because I was persistent. So people didn't help me because I needed help, you know, and without them I would just sit around. No. Because they saw what I was doing, they assisted me to just keep doing it. Because they saw that I was reluctant to give in to it. That's how I see it anyway. You know, I don't know what their secret intent was, you know, on giving me an apartment. If this was really like a karmic payoff because of the emotional work I had done in the family, which is part of my yoga. So everyone has different set of variables, which also changes the method. I mean, if you were to try to live my life, you would possibly hate it. Or you say, hey, that's exactly what I need. And what I cannot tell you is, you know, do you just have to be an Aquarius? Are all Aquariuses like this? No, they're not. Because if they were, we would all be the same. I mean, we may be similar, but the things that we need, like, why do I smoke tobacco? What does that counterbalance? You know, I don't always smoke it, but there are times where I smoke it. You know? Do you need anything? Can't I just drink water? Well, I'm working towards it. You know, this seems to be my path, to just do like baby steps towards needing less. You know, at first I thought I needed lots of women, and then I was content with having one, you know, although I wasn't sure that she even exists, because she's never there. She had the feeling something just fell down. Do you know what that was? I just said something and something appeared next to me. You know, I don't know. I mean, I have had summer days where I was sitting there without having taken anything. I just sat there and I just saw the sky. And I clearly saw a shape flying. And I saw that and I closed my eyes to it. Why? Was it too much? You know? Was it a distraction? Because walking around here, having to deal with cars, other people, dogs, you know, mountain bikes, you know, feces, turds, birds, you know, all this kind of stuff, and the noise clearly makes it hard to just be focusing on all that spiritual stuff. I mean, I can walk around here and I can be like, oh yeah, you know, a spirit. But I can also say, yeah, I mean, I see that, but, you know, that's not what I'm going to focus on right now. You know, I'm just going to keep on moving further into the distance because the tree is going to stay. You know, and even if time is relative and 1 week, you know, in my world, it's like 2 years outside here, I don't know that. And so I just try to let go of these ideas that I have of what is happening inside and outside. I just try to find a conclusion for myself and then just keep going. You know, I'm just holding on to whatever. If I'm alone in my room and I feel the presence of some female being that just feels at least a bit nice, you know, I don't know. I may just find comfort in that. You know, whatever helps. You know, when I've had enough comfort, you know, I'll go take off my shoes and go into nature. Yeah. And that's all I can say to that. You know, I wouldn't just take off my clothes and run into the Amazon rainforest because it would hurt like hell. I mean, there's like spikes everywhere. And the last thing I wanted to say was about, you know, the cinema. I was having this movie in mind. I think it's called The Name of the Rose, if that's the English term. And I had the feeling I wanted to watch it because it's being on a rerun in May. No, not May, but what is this again? Ah, shit. December 5th. No, I'm just saying. And I thought I knew her, but I did not. It says, yeah, you know. So I want to go to the cinema and just stuff myself with popcorn, and you think, did I just feel sick when I left the house? Like, yeah, you did, you know. But I don't know, it has helped me before. I think I'm just gonna do it. And it's interesting.